Okay, I'm ready.
Our oil is the most ethical and environmentally sound produced oil in the world.
The crisis is imminent, and so we probably do need to phase out oil sands. It seems that they're just too carbon intensive.
I'm Don Roush. I was born in St. Boniface, Manitoba, and currently live here in Calgary and was employed in the oil patch for 35 years.
I am Sarah Flynn. I live in Calgary, Alberta. I'm a mom, a stay-at-home mom. I have 3 kids.
I don't have much respect for a protester unless they have feet on the ground experience with it, not just what they've heard.
How would you feel about meeting one of those protesters?
Oh, they'd probably call me a rednecked Alberta.
What could be the solution?
Well, now, come on. I'm just a mom.
Nous sommes dans une situation grave pour l'avenir de l'humanité.
Hundreds of people turned out for a pro-energy rally.
It was one of the largest rallies in Edmonton history.
We will never stop fighting.
Climate change is one of the biggest scams of the 20th century.
Les partisans et les opposants ont manifesté les uns en face des autres.
It's a free country!
I want to see Alberta go forward in a way that is not going to jeopardize the human race.
We'll no longer tolerate Justin Trudeau's attack that has put us into a jobs crisis.
Here she comes. Hi, I'm Don Roush.
I'm Sarah Flynn.
Hello, Sarah.
Nice to meet you. Glad we both wore blue.
Does that indicate you're a conservative? No?
No, just like the color.
First big question for you is, why are you against the oil industry?
Well, I'm not against the oil industry per se. I mean, most of my life I've lived barely even aware of the oil industry. I understand that climate change is a threat, and I feel that one of the biggest contributors, of course, is carbon emissions. So I'm not against the oil industry, but I am for climate action. And I think one piece of climate action is going to have to be shifting what fuels we consume and how we consume them.
I agree, we have to address it, but it's not just the oil and gas industry that is causing the climate change.
Nobody's saying that.
Yeah.
I'm certainly not
So
saying that.
why do we all of a sudden have to just attack the Canadian oil and gas projects and shut them down? Why aren't we working towards shutting down the inefficient operations around the world?
As a Canadian citizen who lives here in Alberta, I really don't have access to what's going on in Saudi Arabia or Russia or any other place. I don't know what's going on there, and I don't have access to it. I've always taught my kids, you clean up your own house, you get your own stuff in order.
There's another thing from your point of view, I think, Don, that gets you worked up a bit is when we're talking about this whole climate change as imminent crisis.
I think we need to have more vetted science put forth that proves what is really going on. The other side, they quote all of these studies, but the question is how many of these studies are really accurate? Last report out of the US is that 85% of reports and papers that are written in the US are incorrect.
Who made it? Because that must be a terrifying place to be where you think that 85% of scientific reports are wrong. That must be terrifying because that would also impact, for example, cancer research. Now with the coronavirus, all the research they're doing on that. If you really are in a place where you think 85% of scientific endeavor is faulty, that is a terrifying place to be. I'm sad that anybody is in that place.
I agree that was a terrible report to read.
But who wrote it? Who wrote it?
I can't remember who wrote it.
Because I don't agree with that. It's like putting the grenade in the middle of the discussion because now suddenly all the footing that where we could be having a productive discussion is gone because all scientific endeavor now, or 85% of it, is out the window.
My biggest concern with the people that are so vocal to do something about climate change is that they never offer solutions or some ideas on what to do other than just shut this down, shut that down.
Well, I wouldn't wouldn't say that's entirely true. It's partly true. You are partly right. I am not, any kind of energy scientist. I'm a mom. So to expect me to be able to produce a solution to solve this enormous global crisis that I didn't engineer the problems that have caused it, and I'm certainly not going to be the one to engineer the solutions. Expecting that is a little bit preposterous.
Sarah held on a bit about the reactions you get online.
My guess is if you spend any time online, you've already seen.
I don't.
Lucky you. Largely really angry and hostile responses that, some threats of violence, if I was there, I'd have run over you with my car, or a lot of kind of xenophobic accusations of, not belonging in Canada, get out, go home, really hostile, ignorant responses rather than addressing the issues.
On the social media, there's very few facts, very few truths. It's all slanted towards somebody trying to make their impression. We have become very divisive in this country. We've had our own separate groups, separate sections of the country forever, but it has become extreme in the last 5-7 years, and we have to fix that.
Could you do a short list of the things you agree about?
We agree that Alberta is a good place to live.
I think we agree that the energy sector in Alberta has extremely large potential for helping guide a future. Maybe we don't agree on the specifics of what that future is going to look like, but I think we agree that Alberta is uniquely and deeply capable and able to guide.
We agree that something has to be done about climate change. It's going to take a lot of R&D. There needs to be more calm conversation to try and calm things down and each side learn from those conversations.
Thank you for your time. It was a pleasure chatting.
It's fun.
How did you think it went?
It was enjoyable. Don was a nice guy.
Did you change your mind on anything?
No.
I think we did a good thing, but I would have liked to see us be able to reach a little more consensus.
Would you go for a coffee again with Sarah?
Oh yeah, no problem. No problem. She's a nice person to have a conversation with. Yeah. But difficult to get my ideas over to her.
Do you think there's merit in having that kind of discussion too?
In the context of those divisive issues, I think in the future, I think he will think of me and the nice time we had together and the fact that I'm not an urban, eco-Nazi or whatever.
Depuis le début de la crise de la COVID-19, la demande mondiale pour le pétrole s'est effondrée. Il y a des milliers d'emplois qui sont menacés aujourd'hui et le déficit du gouvernement de l'Alberta pourrait tripler à cause de la baisse des prix du brut. Mais malgré tout ça, le gouvernement de Jason Kenney a choisi d'investir 7 milliards de dollars dans le projet de pipeline Keystone XL. Comme quoi, le débat sur l'avenir des énergies fossiles au Canada est loin d'être terminé.